You feel like your life sucks. You feel unaccomplished. You feel like a failure. You feel like nothing has worked for you. Hey guys, welcome back to The Anchor Show. My name is Andrew, and today I'm going to be talking about how to deal with the failure, or what appears to be failure, of not achieving our preset objectives and our preset goals. All right. So this is a open conversation, right? So I remember when I was younger, even when I was a little boy, right? I had goals and dreams and aspirations, and I had time frame, right? I had time frame associated with these dreams. And as I have gotten older, like teenage years, right, with my young, naive, and ambitious self, I thought to myself, by the time I'm 30 years old, I'm going to be a multi-millionaire, and I'm gonna have this, and I'm gonna have that, and life is gonna be this, right? Oh, wonderful is it to dream. Well, I'm here to say, at age 30, I did not achieve half of the things that I envisioned myself achieving when I was much younger. And I know for a fact that many of us men are experiencing the same thing, right? There are men right now in our 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s, right, who have yet to accomplish certain goals that they've set out on accomplishing. And that can take a really strong emotional toll on a really ambitious guy who really set out on becoming whatever that looks like, right? Whatever, a doctor, a lawyer, whatever it might be, right? When you have these goals and these time stamps associated with these goals, by the time I'm 28, I'm gonna have my master's degree. By the time I'm 30, I'm gonna buy my first home. By the time I'm 35, I'll have 3 children. Whatever your goals and visions are, right? When we don't achieve those things within that time frame, that can be devastating for some of us. And you start feeling like a failure. You feel like your life sucks. You feel like nothing is working for you, right? You feel like you're probably never ever going to accomplish those things, right? But I want to stop you right there in your tracks and give you a little bit of a different perspective to start looking at, right? Because the reality is that life does not work like that, right? It doesn't. It simply does not. You can set your benchmarks, you can set your goals and time frames to accomplishing and achieving those goals. You could do that all day long, but life doesn't work that way. Life is fluid. Things just happen, on random moments and, on random days, random situations. Life just happened, right? You don't plan for half the things that happen in your life. The amount of things that I have experienced in my life that I never planned for, that I never anticipate that would ever happen to me. Yet it did. Yet it happened, right? And there are a lot of life events and situations that occur that really knock us off our path, really knock us down and knock us off our path. And when that does happen, you have to reassess, reevaluate your path and what it is that you want to do, to see if it's achievable, it's attainable, or if that's even what you still want out of life, right? And so how do you deal with that situation? How do you deal with being beat up and knocked down and being knocked off your path, etc.? How do we deal with that, right? Well, it's different ways in which you could go about it, but what I would say, right, my recommendation is this, right? Write it down, right? Let's write it down together. Let's look at let's draw a line and look at it from the beginning and work our way to the right? Let's look at the beginning. That's going to be your goals, right? What did your goals look like at the very beginning when you started? What were your goals, right? So we're going to write them down. right? Then you're gonna write the age that you desire those goals to be achieved by, right? You're gonna write the age on the right side, right? And then you're gonna look at the current, where you're at right now, right? So I'm here right now, and this is what I've achieved, right? This is what I've yet to achieve, right? You look at those things, and if you have made great strides and progress towards your goals in comparison to where you are at right now and the age, right? If you've taken great strides, that is something that is measurable, and that is something that you must appreciate, right? Let's say for example, right? You said to yourself, okay, by the time I'm age 30, I am going to have a master's degree. I'm going to just say that, right? That is your goal. And you lived your life, things happen, life happens, blah, blah, blah. But here you are at age 30 and you still don't have that master's degree. However, you do have your bachelor's and you've already started working on the master's degree. You just have not achieved it yet, but you're on that path of achieving that master's degree. So it takes a little bit longer than you had initially anticipated. Give yourself some credit, for crying out loud. Give yourself some credit. Now, it is an entirely different situation than you say, okay, by age 30, I am going to get my master's degree, but here you are at age 30, 31, and you don't even have an associate. You've only taken a few classes in college, right? Now, I'm not going to bash you and beat you down for that specific scenario, because there are obviously reasons why your current situation is what it is. And so you have to analyze that. You have to analyze and be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself, right? Why is it that I only get to this stage and not the stage that I set forth, right? Analyze it. See where you came up short. See where you've made some mistakes, see what slowed you down, what were the delays, right, etc., etc. Analyze those things, and then based upon your analysis, you now have some data to work with, right? Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace and understand that things don't always happen exactly how you desire them to be, and especially when it comes on to timing, right? Because let's say, if we're going to stick to the same example about the degree, right? At the time when you set that goal, let's say you had no kids, right? You didn't have children at that time when you set that goal. But years after that, or some time after you've set forth your goal, you wind up having children, right? So you were married and you wind up having children or a child. That slows you down. That knocks you off your path just a little bit, right? That is not something that you had planned for or anticipated happening, but it happens, right? Or maybe you got ill. Maybe something happened, you got sick, right? Or maybe your desire changed somewhere along the path and you decided to either pause or you decided to do something else. And as a result of that, it slowed your progress, right, on that goal. Still give yourself grace, right? I like to look at forward movement, right? As long as you're taking a step forward each day in anything that you're trying to do or accomplish, as long as you're taking a step each day, you're consistent with taking a step forward, that's truly what matters. Even if you take a break, even if you take a brief pause, as long as you're moving forward, onward, forward, go. That's really what matters. That's the important thing, right? So analyze your progress. See where you've come, right? Look at the things that slowed you down. Look at the things that halted your progress. Look at all of that, and then you have raw data to now propel yourself forward. Okay, I didn't achieve it by 30 because X. Right? I wasn't expecting to have a child and I ended up having a child, and now I become a parent and that slowed me down. That is a reasonable excuse. Now, here's the difficult part. If you were simply just lazy, unmotivated, and didn't take any action towards achieving that said goal by that particular age and time frame, then that's on you. Now you got to look inwards. Now you truly got to reflect inward. You got to look at yourself and why, right? And there's no one's fault but your own. If you're going to blame anybody, you got to blame yourself. And you got to embrace the fact that it's your inaction that leads to your current situation and your outcome, right? But I'm looking specifically at the men who never stop trying, the men who constantly takes a step forward but did not achieve their goals set forth at the time that they set it to be achieved. This is the group that I want to highlight and put some emphasis on, because a lot of us are in that situation, right? You're at a certain stage in your life, you're over 30, some of us over 40, and you have not yet achieved some of the things you set out on achieving that you feel that you should achieve. And let's look at this too. Some of these so-called goals and achievements are societally constructed and designed, right? A lot of these things are societally designed. Society say, oh, you're supposed to have a house by 30 or 35, or, you're supposed to, no. Everyone's path and journey is different, and it's going to look different for everybody. So if you're 30, 35, 40, and you don't own a house, you're not a failure because of not owning a house, right? You're not a failure. That doesn't mean you've failed, right? Because owning a house isn't all that glamorous anyways. It's not all that glamorous. People don't talk about that. People don't talk about the financial stress and burden that comes with owning a house, right? When you're renting, something breaks, you call the landlord, they come and fix it. When you own a house, something breaks, you are the landlord. You got to fix that. So it's not all that glamorous, right? So let's not beat ourselves down for societally constructed notions and ideas for us to think that, oh yeah, this is how it's supposed to be. Society tells us that we should go to college, we should get a degree, we should get married, we should buy the house with the white picket fence, get a couple dogs, have some children. What does that leave us? Where does that get most of us? In debt, depression, because you're bogged down by all these bills and responsibilities, and you're working like a horse to pay the freaking bills. So now you are depressed. You're anxious because you're working a job and a half or 2 jobs, and you still can't keep up. You still can't pay your bills because we live in a terrible economic period of time in our lifetime. And so your 2 jobs still can't pay your bills. That's where it gets us. So listen, fellas, don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. Do not beat yourself up. Right? Give yourself some grace. Now, on this channel, we do not celebrate mediocrity, and we don't celebrate self-pity. Therefore, I'm going to have to say this. If you do your analysis from the point where you set your goals to where you're currently at, and to the point where you expected to achieve those goals, if you did your analysis and you realize that you didn't just come up short because life happens, but you came up short because of your inaction and your inability to take the necessary steps towards your goal, that's on you. That's on you, right? But what does taking those necessary steps and actions do for you, right? It creates respect. People see your effort. Your wife sees it, your children sees it, your family members, your friends, etc. People see your effort. You get that respect that you deserve. People take you seriously. People look up to you. They don't look at you as a failure, right? Because remember, society construct the measurements, right? Oh, by age this, you're supposed to have this. Those measurements were created by society. And guess what? When you don't achieve them, society is going to look at you and judge you. right? But once you're on the path of achieving those things, even if you haven't yet quite achieved them, but you're on the path and you're taking those steps and people can see that, not only does that give you a sense of confidence and pride to know that you're doing what you're supposed to do, other people around you sees that and they support that, right? So if you're in this position where you're over 30 or over 40 and you don't feel like you've achieved that which you set out on achieving in life, you come up short, whether by a lot or just a little, do that analysis, give yourself some grace, and start taking the necessary and decisive actions that is going to get you to the end result that you desire, right? Don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. If you are an action taker, if you've been taking the necessary steps, putting in that work, but you just haven't really gotten there yet, because of just how difficult it is right now just to survive, let alone achieve greatness, give yourself some grace and don't beat yourself up, right? And once you've done your analysis and you've identified what the struggles and the challenges are, come up with a plan and a strategy to overcome those struggles and challenges so that you can stay true to your path and ultimately achieving those goals you set out on achieving. That is my suggestion, right? I know a lot of us are going through it. I feel it. I see it every day. But we're not going to let it break us. We're not going to let it derail us from our true path, growth, our purpose, our success. We're not going to let it derail us whatsoever, right? We analyze it, we embrace it, but we're going to continue to move forward because that's the only way we're going to get to our goal. Our goals is by keep moving forward. All right, so that is it for today, guys. I hope that you did get some value from this one. Until the next video, guys, as always, let us continue to grow, evolve, and transform into the best version of ourselves. Peace.